Hey everyone, this is Chris and Sandy Bent with the Chris and Sandy Show. We get up close and personal with some amazing guests throughout the entertainment industry. And today, like I said, every of us, we got a great one for you. Who do we have?
Yes, we have Gracie Carol with us today. She is a country pop singer-songwriter. At the age of 17, her true colors emerged after singing with country music legend Keith Urban on his Raise 'em Up tour at Riverbend Music Center. He then invited Gracie to audition for American Idol season 14, making it to the first round of Hollywood Week. Now living in Nashville, Tennessee, she has written, recorded, and released an abundance of singles.
And we're excited to have her on the show. In fact, we're
Yes.
going to talk about Nashville before the show, so we're
Yes.
excited. So, welcome to the show.
Welcome.
Thank you. I'm really excited to be here and to finally, for the first time, I've seen you guys' show for so long, and now I'm finally on it. So it's such an honor.
Oh, we appreciate that.
Oh, we do.
It's definitely been a crazy journey for us. And we'll get to that in just a minute because, you know, this last 12 to 15 months has been rough on a lot of people. So how did COVID affect you? And what have you done to kind of maneuver through this new maze we have?
So, okay, the COVID story for me is actually super crazy if you're here to sit down and listen for a sec. So I actually worked on a cruise ship the beginning of when COVID started.
Oh, wow.
And I was out at sea. I started January of 2020. Everything was perfectly fine. You know, I was singing country music every single night on the ship. I got to travel the world. It was like a dream, you know, for a country singer starting out and kind of wanting to put their music out. So everything was perfect. And then, you know, March came around and things were getting a little hectic, and especially in the cruise ship realm because there were a lot of ships that were stuck out at sea. Well, I actually ended up being one of those ships.
Oh, God.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I know. And I was out there. We had no passengers, which was really great. It was just the crew. But I was probably in the best case scenario at that time because we had no we didn't have the virus on our ship. So it was pretty safe for me just being out there and not being around everything. But it was very hard just because there wasn't much you could do while there's no passengers. And I was sitting in my cabin a lot. And the only thing I really did was I wrote a bunch of songs. I was so bored. So I just kind of wrote and was getting ready to go back to Nashville whenever they let us off. And a month later in April, they let us off. I was based in LA. And it was crazy because I didn't really understand how much was going on in the world till I got off the ship.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So when I got off, there was so many people.
So you walked into a new world.
I did. It was so crazy. And I saw everything happening like on the news and stuff, but definitely like I didn't see it from my own eyes until then. Everybody.
It was like you were in a movie there. You were on the ship. I could see a movie doing that, and you're stuck out there, and and it's a whole new world.
Different world.
It for real was. And it was really scary. So many people wearing hazmat suits, wearing masks. I had to wear like so much coming off the ship just because they didn't know like what we had been infected or if anything came from us. And then I ended up going back to Ohio, which is where I'm from, in Cincinnati. And I quarantined for a month there, which was kind of awful because I was really wanting to be back in Nashville, you know, kind of pursuing my career more, but nothing was going on in the world. And I just was starting to realize that months later after everybody else had already known it, you know? So I ended up going back to Nashville a month after I was there. So it took 2 months for me to really kind of get back into the gist of things. And so I got back to Nashville in May, and when I was there, I also had a quarantine there, and no shows were going on, and there was no writers round, nothing. And it just kind of took a toll on everybody living in Nashville, all the singer-songwriters and artists. We weren't making as much money as we used to because of the shows. And everybody just started, you know, doing Zoom writes and trying to do the best that we could. But honestly, I think it was a blessing in disguise as well for me, as horrible as COVID was and all of the quarantining. I think it was a really great break for everyone in Nashville to kind of get back to where we started and our roots and dive down into really like who we are as a people. So yeah, I took that whole year and kind of really decided like who I wanted to be as an artist and how I wanted like my fans to see me and what kind of music I really did want to put out. So around the end of 2020, I started doing writers rounds again as they were opening up. Everybody was still wearing masks, just being protective, and kind of getting out all of the songs that I wrote through that. So it ended up not being super awful for me personally, but it definitely was a struggle too.
You know, that's like for us, you know, it's funny you said January 2020 when you went on that boat. Well, January 2020 was when we launched the show.
Yes, January.
Wow.
And our original plan was, you know, to do 100 interviews that first year. We thought if we could do that, we have a great foundation.
Yeah.
And then COVID happened.
Oh
And
my gosh.
I was like, okay, I told Sandy, this is our silver lining. We just need to run hard.
Yes.
So have you always done it through virtual, like video calls though?
Well, if you start out with just audio.
Audio, okay.
And because
last October we kind of
COVID exploded the show enough to where we end up doing over 300 interviews last year. We're almost at 450 now.
That's incredible. That probably made it super easy on you guys though too, because so many artists were itching to just do something again, and you guys had created this show and it was something we could do from our homes. So that is pretty amazing for y'all too.
Yeah, it's definitely been a crazy adventure, and
it
you know,
has a lot of fun.
You know, when you look at the past, some of your big hosts out there of shows, some of your kind of inspiring people. We're actually going to get to interview this guy, John Tesh, next month.
Oh, fun.
And you know, knowing that, you know, he kind of went the path that we're trying to go a little bit here, I was like, so it's going to be a really cool for us.
That's amazing. Wow. Congrats on y'all's success too. It's so great.
Well, thanks.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So a lot of people would ask, when did you know you want to do music? But I like to go deeper than that. When did it click that this could be a career move for you?
Oh my gosh. Well, I mean, you know, I've been singing country music ever since I was a little girl, and that's probably the first answer you got. But growing up, I was a kid of doing multiple things. Like I played so many sports. I did musical theater. I also wrote songs starting at the age of 10, 11. And there was just so many different things that I really wanted to be good at, you know, but not everything was my passion. And country music just always stuck to me, and it was a special place in my heart, especially with my family. It was a huge thing with my parents, and they would take me to Nashville all the time, almost every year growing up as a kid, and they saw how much I loved it. And by the time I got to high school, that's when I was playing volleyball and softball, and I was thinking about running track. But at the end of my sophomore year, I was doing all of that stuff, and especially with musical theater and doing all that, I was like, I need to pick one thing and stick with it. So I ended up quitting sports because I knew I loved singing so much, and I did musical theater. And in my high school, I was actually blessed with having a recording studio in there, and I would go in and kind of record my songs and do projects with different school projects with recording music and writing songs, which was really cool. So I kind of stuck with that path, but I truly didn't know if it was exactly it yet or not, just because I didn't have that moment yet. So I got a job when I was 16 to work at an amusement park in Cincinnati called Coney Island. Not the big one in New York. There's a smaller one. Yeah, you know it. And I did live shows there. I sang and dance. I did all that. And
he's from Kentucky, and I was born in Cincinnati, so
so you totally know it. It's such a cute little park. But yeah, I'm off phone. Fix that a second. But they ended up putting me into the country shows there. So I was like, okay, country music is definitely my thing. I definitely want to pursue this somehow. So that same year, that summer, I had just turned 17. And like you said in my bio, that's when I was so blessed. I got the opportunity to sing with Keith Urban in Cincinnati. and I spent the whole day with him.
Wow.
I think it was the Lord's way of saying, like, this is like your shot. This is a glimpse into your future, and I want you to take this and do it for yourself. Like, you're seeing it now, but I really want you to figure out how to get there. So I did it, and I sang in front of 20,000 people with Keith Urban, and so many people are just like,
what was that like?
Audience, super crazy. Like, people always ask me if I was nervous, and you can look at the video too. I wasn't nervous. I think the only thing I was kind of nervous about was the fact that this was something that I've always wanted to do, and
you prepared all your life for that.
Yeah, exactly. And I just didn't know until that moment that I was like literally singing. Like, I remember I have a picture in my head of the audience and looking over at Keith Urban, just singing with him and him like jamming on the guitar. I was like, this is exactly what I want my career to be, and I'm going to make it happen. No matter how long it takes, somewhere along the line, I'm going to do it. So I think that was definitely the moment that made me really want to pursue country music.
Somebody asked, how many shows have you done?
How many shows? I don't know. I've done so many now, just because after that, I was a senior in high school in Cincy, and I automatically, after that, I just moved to Nashville because I wanted to pursue it. And I have done, I don't even know, over maybe 300 to 500 shows just in Nashville. It could be more. But and especially the cruise ship jobs too. I performed every night on that.
Wow.
So I've done so many.
So, and that's like for our show, there's been several dreams that we've had in the past and I've had. And we kind of said, you know what, when this started taking off, like, this is what it's like God shined down. Like, okay, I'm going to give you some really great artists and start there. And it was like God shining down saying, you know what, this is what you're supposed to do. And so we basically dropped every dream we had outside of this.
Pour ourselves into this show.
And I'm 49, I'm about to be 50. And and it's funny.
Later this month.
But it was funny because Sandy and I will talk sometimes about our past, and we've been married almost 19 years. And so many times I've been in conversations when we're out and about. She knows that if I get in 2 or 3 minute conversation, it's going to be 60 minutes. And I do this, and I've done this thousands of times. She'd get so mad sometimes. And now we're like, oh, that was preparation for our 30 and 60 minute shows.
Wow. And that's just so crazy to think about, how God can just lead you into a path where it's like something huge is going to come from this. You just have to wait, be patient. And that's incredible. And that shows for you guys too. It's crazy how a life works out.
And the patience is really tough for me. I've always had my hands in multiple things, and it's like, you want the show to grow, and it's growing, and it's like, okay, it's not fast enough. Because of course, I'm like you as an artist, you're probably like,
oh yeah,
you want to be at that stadium tour tomorrow. Even though,
it's about consistency.
But we've had to be consistent with this, just like I'm sure you have had to be.
Right. And it's the little shows and the little preparations that will lead you to the bigger things. And a lot of people just don't realize that. Like, they just really want to play like big stadiums already, but you have to have that practice and that rehearsal. And the more that you do it, the better it will be. And I think that's why it does happen that way.
And, speaking of this, perfect lead in to where I want this to go now is, as you know, a lot of people, they see the glory of a Luke Bryan, of a Blake Shelton, of a Carrie and Miranda, but they don't see the grind, the sacrifice, the tears, the struggles that it takes, not just to get to their level, but even a career level within music. And I always want to talk about it because I think so many people kind of gloss over this side of it.
They do.
Correct.
So let's go there. Tell us a little bit of the sacrifices you've had to make personally just to get to where you are even today.
Oh.
Yep. There you are.
Yeah.
Sorry, somebody was calling me.
Oh, no problem. We understand. We've had that happen.
Okay, so the sacrifices, that's what I heard.
Yeah, but basically, tell us a little bit about the sacrifice side that you've had to make to get to where you are today, because I think that people need to hear this.
Oh my gosh. I mean, I gave up everything that I had in my hometown, and I moved to Nashville. That was even a huge sacrifice. My whole family's there. I'm down here alone. And I've given up a lot just to be able to pursue this career. And I don't know, there's so many opportunities that I did get handed. I feel like not handed, but like I worked towards, but also,
Right.
maybe just didn't work out because something bigger was coming. Or like, for example, when I was on American Idol, from when I did sing with Keith Urban, because he was a judge at the time.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a lot of no's in that too. And I think those little things of just getting so many rejections, that, for example, just keeps me keep on going, because I feel like there's so much that I have to offer to this world, and there's so much that I really want to not really show people, but the feeling of having somebody really connect with you. And this is why I do love doing live shows, is because those people love to hear experiences from others as well, because there's so many different things that can go on in somebody's life, and a lot of people can feel selfish in that, and think that's only happening to them, but when a songwriter, an artist, writes about that and gives away all of their emotion and puts it out, like, that's a lot for that
the vulnerable spot.
It's so vulnerable. But because so many people also go through those things, that's why we all do this, because they want others to really feel like you're not alone, and that we go through it too. And especially big artists, they go through all of that as well. Like, it's just so crazy. And all these sacrifices have led up to where I am today. And I truly I would never change one bit of what has happened to me at all.
Because, like a lot of artists have said this, and we feel this way too, where you're looking at the sacrifices and you're paying that price and you're wanting it to grow and you're building, and then you see your friends and they're getting married and they keep posting, oh, got this new promotion, and you're like, when is it going to happen?
Yeah, and that also goes into like my personal life, and any artist's personal life, because you see so much about releasing music and having a platform, and social media is terrible with all that. But there's so much that goes into, like, I was coming into Nashville, I was in a relationship for 6 years, and I'm not anymore. I'll tell you that. That's been gone for about a year now, and that was a huge sacrifice, just letting that go too, because there's so much in my career that I feel like could benefit so many people. And at that point in my relationship, it wasn't really doing well for me as a person and for my career. So that was even a big thing for me to let go.
Yeah,
of course. Yeah.
But I tell you what, I feel like it was another huge blessing for me to do that too. As much as I loved that relationship, it was definitely super, super hard. But
is that where breakup season come from?
Oh yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about that.
Tell us about that song. More about
that. Okay. So I'll tell you go into detail about what happened. I got broken up with around November of last year, and I kind of took that as a blessing in disguise, just because there was so much happening in our relationship that I also didn't see, and I just kind of wanted everything to work out and be fine. But it wasn't to me. I felt like my life was kind of falling apart, but also I knew deep down somewhere that this was a really great opportunity. So I started writing really sad songs, because I was like, giving yourself to somebody for that long is kind of depressing when you break up. And so going into that, when we wrote Breakup Season, I was like, it was in February, and I was like, you guys, I wrote it with a bunch of guys, which is so funny. Like 4 different guys. And I was like, you guys, I've been writing really sad songs. I am sad, like I'm really depressed, but like I know people write sad songs about breakups all the time. Like,
yeah,
I really want to feel better again. And somewhere in there, we said it's breakup season,
ooh,
and we were like, that's what we're gonna write about, and we're gonna make it super fun. We're gonna make it like a jam song. We're gonna have, your girls are gonna want to be there. Like it could be a celebration instead of a celebration,
Yeah.
yeah,
So we were just like, yeah, it's break up season. And then we just kind of like went from the chorus into like verses. We were like,
yeah,
we didn't want to make it too storyline, but also
Yeah.
somewhere where
yeah.
people can connect with it and be like,
Mhm.
yeah, like I don't need to talk to you. You don't have to call me. Like I
Right.
can do this on my own. I got my girls. And so it's just like it was so
And at
fun
that
to
point,
write.
you had your guys.
I know the guy, literally all the guys were like, yeah, we got the girls in the car, we're jamming. It was just so fun. And so I've had that song since February, and I didn't know
Wow.
what to do with it. I didn't know if I was ready to put it out yet just because of my emotional state. I feel like I needed that song for myself all these months
Mhm.
to feel better and kind of be like, all right, this is making me good. Like honestly, that song cured my depression. And I was like, if this song makes me feel this way, the way that I do, I was like, I bet so many other people can relate to this. So I was like, I have to start posting this somewhere. So I did my first TikTok. I was like, you guys, I think I
Oh,
just
wow.
wrote the breakup summer anthem. And once I posted it on TikTok, it just went crazy.
Oh, wow.
Oh, it took off from there. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sandy says that music saved her back in high school.
Oh, definitely. Music can be very healing. It helps us connect on so many levels.
Yes. And there's a song for everything too.
There
No matter
is.
what emotion you're
Absolutely.
feeling,
Any
somewhere.
emotion, any mood, any
And
feeling.
thank God
you
for
can find
YouTube,
one.
right? You can find anything you want on
Yeah.
YouTube.
Correct. It's
Absolutely.
so great.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, as you know, a lot of people, they see you as the artist, but they don't see the teams behind the artist. In our opinion, teams never get the love they deserve.
They don't.
Mhm.
So in our opinion, we want them to have the love on our shows.
So teams matter.
Because teams do matter. So
The
tell
teams are
us a little bit about the team that helps you be who you are.
Oh my gosh. So I mean, I came to Nashville with nobody and
Wow.
literally trying to find not the correct, but like the right people who make you feel like they really believe in you is definitely something difficult to find because there are some people who really just want to like trick you into just paying them and stuff.
Yeah.
And that honestly wasn't me. I was just trying to find the person who really saw something in me and saw the future the same exact way that I did. And Trevor Perkins was actually
No, we love him.
the first,
Yeah.
the first guy that saw something in me. And I think I was one of his first country artists.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Which is also another funny story
Yeah.
because my ex was actually his first client, which is how we met.
Wow, that's
So
crazy.
truly, everything happens for a reason and people are
So
in your
you
life.
met for that connection.
Correct.
Yeah, to have
And
that
I know so many good things can come out of sad things. But so Trevor has been there for me since the beginning. And I mean, I started releasing music in 2018, but that was mostly because I knew I wasn't ready as an artist to really
Yeah.
be the person that I wanted to be, but I really wanted to start somewhere. So Trevor helped me with a couple of my first things, and ever since then, I mean, he's just been by my side the whole way.
Wow.
But I also have along the way created some really great teams as well. So the beginning of this year, literally the first write was breakup season. My friend now and almost brother, I love him to death. His name's Alex Angelo. He's actually from Ohio as well.
Yeah.
He moved down here. He was just getting his start, and he's a producer. He's a hip hop artist, a pop artist, actually. Sorry. And he does his own thing. Like he started touring when he was a teenager, and him and his team kind of saw something in me after we wrote breakup season. and they started helping me out. So around that time that I wrote Breakup Season is when I released Is Yet, my last single.
Huh.
And because of Breakup Season, his team, Alex's manager, his name is Bo. He also was like, hey, you're really great. I think you really have potential and you can go somewhere, especially with all the stuff you and Alex have been writing. Let's work together. Let's do something. I want to help you. And so I was like, oh my gosh, that's really awesome. Now I've had people tell that to me in the past, but the way that he was putting himself into me and kind of showing off that not only like I know that I had potential, he was also showing me that like there is more potential in me that I didn't know. So yeah, he was also one of those first people to really make me feel like, oh my gosh, like this artistry could like something can definitely happen this year with these guys, and especially bringing Trevor into it. I was like, I know something could happen. So them as a team, as us working together, he helps me out. Bo helped me out a lot with the promotion of Is Yet and trying to get streams there. Now, that wasn't like a TikTok sensation or anything. I just kind of put that out as just like a cute little song, you know, because I didn't really know where I was exactly going next until after I wrote Breakup Season. But we were really diving down throughout the whole thing of Is Yet of what we could do with our new stuff, and especially Breakup Season. So that's kind of where all the TikToks came from and all the promotions. And now I'm trying to get myself heard from labels and radio stations, and it's all just because of these guys that believe in me. So it's really awesome to have a team who want you to succeed.
Love that. And as you know, you know, speaking of teams and family, we've got a third co-host that we always bring on, our little 9-year-old. So Sandy's gonna go get him real quick.
Yes.
And we've got a 2-year-old that when she gets older, she'll be plugged into our show too. Because we are family
love it. What's your 2-year-old's name?
The 2-year-old's Caitlin. She's asleep. But
Caitlin.
And then Christopher's our 9-year-old.
I know Christopher.
But yeah, it's definitely been interesting having him on the show too. Because in fact, I think that's one of the things that's been able to sell us on getting some of the artists we've gotten, because they love the family atmosphere.
It's awesome, and he's so cute. Hi, Christopher.
You're so cute.
Yes, hi, Gracie. So, what's your favorite food?
My favorite food? That's a really good question. I actually had it last night. I eat it almost every week. I love chicken enchiladas.
Oh wow!
I love it.
Mine is pizza.
You love pizza?
Yes.
Pizza is so good, and you can
They're
never go
all
wrong
day long.
with that.
And we picked the wrong shirt again today.
Oh, we did.
He's bodiless.
Wait, that's so funny. He's just a head.
So, what's your favorite TV show?
So that's really funny. That's a really, really good question. I actually don't watch TV.
Oh wow.
Fun fact about me, but I do love watching YouTube. I watch a lot of YouTube videos, and
YouTube's kind of the new TV.
It is.
Yeah, it is. There is a YouTube TV, but my favorite is watching family videos on YouTube.
And what's yours?
Mine is SpongeBob.
SpongeBob! Oh, that used to be one of my favorite shows growing up.
And what's been pretty cool about it is because he watches a lot of Disney and Nickelodeon shows now.
Yeah.
And so a lot of the actor and actresses that are on his shows have come on our show.
Oh my gosh, that is so exciting.
Like one of the last ones was pretty cool that we had. We had the girl that plays Destiny on Bunked On.
No way. How cool was that?
That was great.
Because that's Bunked's one of his favorite shows, so it was really cool. And
were you starstruck?
Huh?
Were you starstruck?
A
little bit.
Yeah.
It's so funny.
Just like we had a couple people from Side Hustle because he loves that show too.
Yeah.
Wow.
So next.
Okay, so what's your favorite movie?
My favorite movie. Okay, so I actually have really been into the Marvel movies.
Oh wow.
I love them. I watched them all in order this past month. I couldn't stop watching them. My favorite is Captain America.
Oh, cool.
And what's yours?
Mine is the Minions movie.
The Minions. That
Yeah.
one is a good one.
Yep, he loved the Minions. He loved Despicable Me. All that whole. They built a really crazy brand, I tell
They
you.
have.
They really did, but it's so awesome.
Because sometimes he won't be watching it, and Sandy and I'll be sitting there like into it, and like,
Oh,
he's not even watching it no more.
Yeah.
And you guys were like really into it.
Oh, yes, we love them too.
Bye, thanks.
Bye, Christopher.
That shirt. Yeah, I think sometimes he tries to forget. Make sure that he don't say anything about the shirt, so we'll forget.
That's so funny.
Because he thinks it's the coolest thing that you see part of him.
he likes just being ahead.
Yeah, floating head. He thinks it's hilarious.
I'm a floating head.
So if you could co-write with any artist, dead or alive, who would it be?
Oh my gosh. That's an amazing question. Holy cow. I think I'd want to write with Dolly Parton.
That would be a good one.
Oh, that would.
She's so sweet, and I feel like my voice is almost a little bit similar to her. She has such this like pure tone.
Yeah.
And I feel like mine is kind of the same way. And the way, I mean, the person that she is, I mean, she's Dolly for president. Like, that's what I always say. She's the queen. Like, she's just the sweetest person and has a really, really great work ethic that I would just love to be in the same room with her and collab.
Now, this question probably has 1,000 different answers, but just think of the first thing that pops in your head.
Okay.
What is a song you've heard that you wish you wrote?
That is so good. So I was actually just talking about this with one of my friends the other day, and it's funny because I said this literally, we talked about this earlier. So Maren Morris has a song on her Girl album called A Song for Everything. And I had always said there's a song for everything, and when she put that out, I was like, that is so genius. Like, I could have wrote a song literally about that.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so I listen to that song all the time. It's so great.
That's awesome. So back in 2015, we interviewed Kelsey Ballerini before she was Kelsey.
That's awesome.
And one of the questions I asked her was where she wanted to be in 5 years. And I always like to tell this story before I ask the guest that same question, because the answer she gave us then is to the T of what she's living now. I mean, she knew where she was going, and you weren't going to stop her. So knowing that, where do you want to be in 5 years?
5 years, these questions, I'm such a in the moment type of person, and whatever happens in that moment, whatever decisions you make then and there will lead to your future.
Yeah.
And I hate like thinking about the future because I'm so into like what I can do now to get there.
Yeah.
But if I do think about it, like, I definitely just want to be in more writing rooms with big writers, maybe have a publishing deal. I don't know about a record label deal, if it's something like really good, because I went to school for it. I definitely know like what I need and what I want, the ins and outs. And sometimes people get really screwed over with record deals. But if I do get,
especially new artists.
Oh yes, 100%. But they won't fool me. But if there is something, that is really along the lines of what I definitely want to do independently too, then maybe I will. But this is the biggest one. I definitely want to be able to say I performed at the Grand Ole Opry.
Wow.
Oh yes,
that's a really good. Yeah, I remember someone telling us that they've been offered to go into that circle way before,
right? But
without the singing, and they won't. It's like, I will. It's like that's sacred. Because when the first time I walk in on that circle, it's going to be me performing.
It's so, and that's true. Now, I mean, when I was a kid, like, I used to take tours there all the time. Like, that's my favorite place in the world. And as a kid, I didn't know it, but I would step into that circle, and I would be like, one day I am going to be here.
Wow.
But now, ever since I moved here, I've never stepped into it, just because I want to be able to say that I was here as a kid picturing this, and now I'm back in the circle, and now I'm doing it.
So this is kind of a twist to a question. let's look 15 years down the road, and let's say that you're a success on a grand scale. Whatever that looks like for you, you're there. If the person you are today could meet her, your future successful self, what would you want to remind her?
Gosh, I would say, my motto in this world is to just be kind to everyone and do everything in love. And
oh, that's so important.
And if I'm 15 years from now, I honestly would just say it's okay to make mistakes, because I'm so fully into other people and their feelings and how they perceive the world that sometimes I forget about myself, and I feel like I've maybe made a mistake in like forgetting about who I am sometimes. But definitely I would just say, just keep having the kindness in me, and don't forget about, me. Just keep going, because I literally, like, I didn't think about myself until after probably my breakup. This whole year has been such a crazy whirlwind for me, mentally and physically, that I've learned a whole lot about myself. Like, there's so much love that I have for me now that I didn't know I had. Yeah, so I honestly, like, I would just say, like, the whole love thing is just huge, and if I can keep that and be good and kind to myself the rest of the way, then keep doing it.
Awesome.
And how would you describe your music to someone who hasn't heard it yet?
I would say it's country pop for sure. Like, I love country, and I've always listened to like 90s to early 2000s country, and that's what I wanted to do as an artist. But when I came to Nashville and I started co-writing and all this stuff, it ended up being country pop. I couldn't help with carry the pop tunes with me. So it's definitely country pop. I would say if I compare myself to someone, it would be a mixture of Maren Morris and Lainey Wilson.
Oh, wow.
Awesome. And what are some sources of inspiration for your songwriting?
Definitely my breakup.
Yes.
I think this whole breakup, Gracie, has definitely showed off like who I really am as an artist for me personally, because I mean, these past 6 years being in Nashville, I've been writing songs and I've been in love, and I just never felt like it was really it yet, and I didn't know what it was. Like, I loved all the songs I wrote, but I was like, something's missing. And this year, finally, I really feel like I am there. Like, this is it.
Awesome. And what would you like your legacy to be as an artist? What would you like to be most known and remembered for?
Being personable. I really want to connect with people, not just through like if they see me like as fame, because I definitely am not doing this for fame at all. I just want people to know like they're not alone in anything that they feel emotionally, and I go through it. Everybody goes through it, and even I'm gonna say this. I've gotten 20,000 followers since I posted release breakup season, and it's kind of scaring me, but also I'm super excited because now I know that there's so many people I don't know that are gonna see like me as a person on there. I don't want to just show off like just streams, just songs, just these things that I'm doing, just shows. I really want them to know like I'm a person too, and so I'm just trying to figure out ways to show them like how I can do that, and just kind of showing them into my life and like every day.
Speaking of fans, tell us a fan story.
Oh yeah.
That kind of inspired, a fan story that inspired you, where, because again, it's all about connecting with the fans. So tell us one of those stories.
Gosh. I mean, there's so many people online. Like there's people from the start that have stayed with me and stuck up with me to now. And there are not many that I have met in person, just because I haven't really gotten to really tour yet and meet people. And I definitely have this year. But they're just the people that really kind of keep me motivated and know that like there are people out there who do want to listen to me. And I know if they are wanting to listen to me, there's going to be so many different more people. But an in-person thing. So this just happened to me recently. I play downtown Broadway in Nashville, and I was at Honky Tonk Central one night doing a late night show, and I was getting ready. I was doing a little mic check, getting everything ready for the show. And these two girls walk up to the stage, like right before we start playing, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, you're on TikTok?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, like I'm on TikTok. I post some of my songs on there once in a while." And they're like, "No, like we love your new song, Breakup Season." And I was like, "Oh my gosh." And at this point it wasn't out yet.
Yeah.
And it was just on TikTok. So I was like, "Oh my gosh, you do?" They're like, "Yes, like we've been following you ever since we saw that video of you posting it, and we think it's awesome." And there at this point, like I knew it was coming out and I had a release date, and they were like, can you play it? Can you play it? And they tipped me to play the song, and they were really excited. And what was really cool about it too is they own a boutique, and they're not from, I forget exactly where they're from, but they were from out of town, and they were like, "You're awesome. We love you. I really want to send you like clothes to be able to perform in. I own a boutique. Like we love you, and we think you're going to go places. Like just message me." And I exchanged numbers with them, and they're sending me like a bunch of clothes and stuff to be able to perform in. And I'll post about them too and get their name out. But like it's just those little things that are like, oh my gosh, like they love my music, and they also want to exchange in return for something that they're also working on. And that's exactly like what I want to do. So help others.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's so cool.
And tell us a little bit about your doggie that we've seen on camera there.
This girl. So I'm actually dog sitting for some friends. This is I'll show you. This is Sadie. Sadie girl. She's a little Yorkie. Okay. And then they have a golden doodle outside as well, but she's a little crazy, so she's outside. But yeah.
So what's a piece of advice you'd give it? Let's say an artist is just getting started, but they know that they've been called to this. They really felt in their heart that this is what they're supposed to do. What advice would you give that person to kind of help guide them the next few years?
Don't be afraid to be yourself, and especially going into co-writes or just kind of figuring out who you are as an artist. Don't look at other artists. It doesn't really help. It does in the long run of like having like, wow, I have these big dreams and that person is inspiring me to do it. Mm-hmm. I do that. But the way that they did it was because they're themselves. And that's what a lot of smaller artists don't really realize. Nobody wants another Kelsey Ballerini. Nobody wants another Maren Morris. They want somebody who's going to show off a new thing to country music or a new thing to any music industry. And if you do that, it'll work out in the long run for you.
Yeah. I love that answer, because I remember when we first launched this show, I reached out to a Nashville friend of mine and asked him what advice he'd give our show as we get started. Mm-hmm. And I'll never forget what he said, because he said, whatever you do, be and stay authentic. He says, you could tell every Bobby Bones joke. You could tell every Ty Bentley joke. He says, and you might be good at it and create some type of audience, but the day will come when authentic Chris comes out. And when that day comes, you're going to lose every bit of your audience, because they were never attracted to you. They were attracted to your fake.
Correct.
So if you start and stay authentic, you may grow slower, but you'll grow with the right people.
Correct. Yes. It's such a good answer.
So as we come to a close here, tell everybody how they can reach out to you.
Yeah. So I'm on all socials at the Gracie Carol, everything. You can check me out on YouTube. I have all my stuff on there. My website is just graciecarol.com. I think that's everything. Yeah, you can go check me out. I would love it. Everything also on Spotify, Apple Music. I'm Gracie Carol. Go check out Breakup Season. And
great song.
Oh yeah, love it.
Thank you.
And we really enjoyed having you on the show today, and we look forward to some updates down the road.
Thank you. You guys are awesome. And I'm also super, super proud of your success and everything you guys have been up to. Keep going. Keep interviewing all these artists. It's really cool. You never know who's going to actually make it. And maybe you
Well,
also
we interviewed
had
Kelsey Ballerini years ago, and look.
That's
so
true.
cool. Now and now you can say that.
Which is, I mean, we interviewed it for New Country Buzz and all that.
Right. Yeah. A few years
Not
ago.
the Chris and Sandy show yet,
Right.
but we'll have some of those stories too of rising artists
Right.
that we brought on. And
Oh, definitely.
I mean, because we interviewed Kaylee Hammock.
Tennille
Tennille
Arts.
Arts.
Amazing. Oh my gosh. Tennille Arts is doing really well too.
She is.
Yeah, we kind of joked after we got off with Tennille Arts. We said, you know what? She's our Kelsey.
We're like, that song she has is going number one. It did.
Because
Yeah.
when we brought Kelsey on, her song was at number 28 at the time.
Right.
And we said after that, it'll be number one. And it went number one. And when Tennille Arts came on, her song was at what was it? At 20 or 25?
Maybe even further down than that.
Either way, she wasn't number one.
Yeah.
But we said, you know what? She's going to be another number one. And sure enough.
Oh man, she is climbing. She's doing it. It's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
All right. You know, again, we enjoyed having you.
I love y'all. Thank you so much for having me.
Bye.
Thanks. We enjoyed
Bye.
it.
Thank
Bye.
you.